The cargo vessel Silver Wing drifted through the outer rim of the galaxy, far from any trade route. Captain James stood on the bridge, watching the endless void through the viewport. His crew of 12 humans had been traveling for 3 months, carrying mining equipment to a distant colony. "Captain, we're picking up something strange," said Tom, the communications officer. His fingers moved across the console, adjusting frequencies. "It's a distress signal, but the pattern is nothing I've seen before." James walked over to Tom's station. The signal pulsed in an odd rhythm. 3 long pulses, 7 short ones, then silence for exactly 4 seconds before repeating. It wasn't any human emergency code. "Can you trace the source?" James asked. "About 2 light hours from here. It's coming from a ship, but the signature doesn't match anything in our database." The captain made a decision that would change everything. "Set course for the signal. Maximum speed." His first officer, Maria, looked worried. "Sir, we don't know what's out there. Company regulations say we should report this to headquarters first. By the time headquarters responds, whoever sent that signal could be dead," James replied. "We're going in." The Silver Wing changed course. As they approached the signal's source, their sensors revealed something incredible. A massive alien ship, easily 10 times the size of their vessel, hung motionless in space. Its hull was crystalline, reflecting starlight in patterns that hurt to look at directly. "Life signs?" James asked. "Hundreds of them," Tom reported. "But they're weak. Whatever happened here, these beings are dying." The alien ship showed signs of battle damage. Huge sections of the crystal hull were shattered, and strange purple fluid leaked into space, freezing instantly in the vacuum. "Sir, I'm detecting another ship signature," Maria said suddenly. "It's approaching fast from the opposite direction." On the screen appeared a dark, angular vessel bristling with weapons. It looked like it was built for one purpose: destruction. "They're charging weapons," Tom shouted. "They're going to finish off the damaged ship." James didn't hesitate. The Silver Wing was just a cargo vessel with basic defensive systems. But he couldn't stand by and watch a massacre. "Put us between them and the damaged ship," he ordered. "Open a channel to the attacking vessel." The crew looked at him in shock, but followed orders. The Silver Wing moved into position, its small frame dwarfing compared to both alien vessels. "Attention unknown vessel," James broadcast. "This is Captain James of the human ship Silver Wing. The vessel you're targeting is under our protection. Stand down immediately." The response came in broken English, processed through some kind of translation system. "Foolish humans. Move aside. The Vex must be eliminated. They are plague upon galaxy. Not today," James said firmly. "These beings sent a distress signal. By human law and basic decency, we're obligated to help them. Your small ship cannot stop us. We are the Ravagers. We have destroyed countless Vex vessels." James turned to his crew. "Remember your training. We might be small, but humans didn't spread across the stars by backing down from bullies." He activated the ship's emergency beacon, sending a coded message to any human vessels within range. Then he did something unexpected. He activated the mining charges they were carrying, spreading them in a defensive pattern around both ships. "You see those charges?" James told the Ravagers. "They're meant to crack asteroids. Imagine what they'll do to your ship. Leave now, or we all go together." The bridge fell silent. Everyone held their breath. The standoff stretched for long minutes. Finally, the Ravager ship began to pull back. "You humans are insane. The Vex are your problem now." As the hostile ship disappeared into hyperspace, James exhaled slowly. They had bluffed their way through, but now came the real challenge: making contact with the aliens they'd just saved. "Open a channel to the damaged ship," James ordered. "Let's see if they understand us." What came through the speakers would haunt and inspire James for the rest of his life. A melodious voice speaking perfect English. "Human vessel, We are dying. You stood against the Ravagers for us, strangers to your kind. Why? Because, James replied simply. That's what humans do. Asterisk, the rescue operation began immediately. James organized his crew with military precision, even though most of them had never seen real combat or emergency situations beyond simulations. Maria, take a team and prepare the cargo bay for survivors, James ordered. Tom, keep monitoring their life signs. Let me know if anyone's condition becomes critical. The first challenge was getting aboard the alien vessel. The Vex ship's airlocks were incompatible with human technology, and the crystalline hull resisted their cutting tools. Finally, their engineer, Robert, suggested using the mining laser at its lowest setting to carefully melt through a damaged section. James led the boarding party himself, along with Anna, the ship's medic, and 2 cargo handlers, Mike and David. When they stepped through the improvised entrance, they entered a world of impossible beauty and terrible destruction. The Vex ship's interior was like being inside a giant prism. Light bent and refracted through crystal corridors, creating rainbows that danced across every surface. But the beauty was marred by devastation. Purple blood, if it could be called blood, painted the walls. Bodies lay scattered throughout the corridors. The Vex themselves were unlike anything in human xenobiology texts. They stood 7 feet tall, with translucent skin that showed intricate patterns of light flowing beneath. Their faces had 3 eyes arranged in a triangle, and their limbs were long and graceful, ending in delicate fingers that looked more suited to playing instruments than fighting wars. Over here, Anna called out. She had found a group of survivors huddled in what appeared to be a command center. About 30 Vex were still alive, but many were badly injured. One Vex, wearing what looked like ceremonial armor made of living crystal, struggled to stand. When it spoke, the translation came through their suit's speakers. I am Crix, commander of this vessel, the alien said. We are ... grateful. No other species has ever stood against the Ravagers for us. Save your strength, Anna said, already running her medical scanner over the injured. We need to get you to our ship. Your medicine will not work on us, Crix said weakly. We are silicon-based life. Your treatments are for carbon-based beings. Anna looked at James, worry clear in her eyes even through her helmet. They had basic medical supplies, but nothing designed for silicon-based biology. Then we'll have to get creative, James said. He activated his cone. Robert, I need you to research silicon-based life support fast. Tom, reach out to any human science vessels in the sector. We need expert help. As they worked to move the survivors, Crix shared their story. The Jiks were explorers and scientists, peaceful by nature. They had developed incredible technology, but never weapons of war. When the Ravagers appeared 50 years ago, the Vex had no defense. We sent distress signals to everyone, Crix explained as they carried him to the Silver Wing, the Galactic Council, the Trading Federation, even the mysterious builders. None would help. They all said the Vex brought this on ourselves by being weak. That's not right, Mike said, anger in his voice. Just because you're peaceful doesn't mean you deserve to be hunted. They managed to save 28 Vex. The others had died from their injuries before they could be moved. The cargo bay of the Silver Wing was transformed into a makeshift refugee camp. Robert had rigged up heat lamps that seemed to help the silicon-based beings, and Anna worked tirelessly to adapt their medical equipment. Then Tom received a response to their emergency beacon. 3 human ships were on their way, a military cruiser, a science vessel, and surprisingly, a colony ship with full medical facilities. They'll be here in 6 hours, Tom reported. Crix, despite his injuries, seemed amazed. Your people. They come without knowing us, without trade agreements or treaties? Humans have a saying, James replied. Today you, tomorrow me. We help because one day we might be the ones who need it. Over the next hours, something remarkable happened. The Vex began to sing. It was their way of expressing gratitude, harmonious tones that resonated through the crystal fragments they carried. The human crew found themselves mesmerized by the alien music. "Captain," Crix called James over privately, "I must tell you something. We Vex are not just scientists. We are the keepers of ancient knowledge. Star maps to resources beyond imagination, technologies that could advance your species by centuries. We will share all of this with humanity. We didn't save you for rewards," James said. "Which is exactly why you deserve them," Crix replied. Asterisk. The arrival of the human relief fleet marked a turning point. The UHS Prometheus, a military cruiser, dropped out of hyperspace first, followed by the science vessel Darwin and the colony ship New Horizon. Captain James had never been so relieved to see the cavalry arrive. Admiral Linda Park of the Prometheus took command of the situation immediately. She was a veteran of the colonial wars, and her presence brought order to chaos. "Captain James, you and your crew have done exceptional work," she said over the com. "We'll take it from here." But James wasn't ready to step aside. "With respect, Admiral, these beings trust us. We should stay involved." There was a pause before Linda replied. "Very well. Silver, Wing will coordinate with the medical teams." The colony ship New Horizon had something unprecedented, a full xenobiology lab. Dr. William Chun and his team had been studying theoretical silicon-based life for years. Now they had real patients. Fascinating. William exclaimed when he first examined the Vex. "Their biology is like living computer circuits. They process information and nutrients through crystalline structures. We can synthesize what they need." Working around the clock, the human medical teams developed treatments. They discovered that certain mineral compounds, when electrically charged, could accelerate Vex healing. Within 2 days, even the most critically injured were stabilizing. But the Ravagers hadn't given up. Long-range sensors detected a fleet of 12 Ravager ships heading their way. "They want to finish the job," Admiral Linda said grimly during the emergency meeting. "We have 1 military vessel against 12. Those aren't good odds. What about the mining charges?" Robert suggested. "We could create a minefield. Not enough to stop that many ships," Linda replied. It was Crix who provided the solution. The Vex commander, now recovered enough to attend meetings, revealed something extraordinary. "Our ship's main weapon was not designed for war," he said. "It's a resonance beam, meant for breaking down asteroids for study. But if we modify it, combine it with your human weapons, ... double quotes, Dr. Williams' eyes lit up. A harmonic frequency weapon. If we can match the frequency of their shields, we could shatter them like glass." The next 48 hours saw unprecedented cooperation. Human engineers worked alongside Vex scientists. The crystalline technology of the Vex merged with human innovation. The Silver Wing's crew, despite being civilians, threw themselves into the work. Tom and a Vex communications specialist named Saran developed a virus that could disrupt Ravager targeting systems. Maria organized supply lines between ships. Even Mike and David, simple cargo handlers, found themselves learning alien engineering. "You humans are remarkable," Crix told James as they watched their crews work together. "You adapt to anything, befriend anyone. The galaxy has underestimated your species." "We're just doing what's right," James replied. "No," Crix disagreed. "Others know what is right. Only humans act on it without hesitation." When the Ravager fleet arrived, they faced something unexpected. The damaged Vex ship, now partially repaired and armed with hybrid weapons, stood alongside 4 human vessels. The Silver Wing had been equipped with modified shields that shimmered with Vex crystal technology. The Ravager commander's message was full of rage. "Humans, you dare stand with the weak Vex? You will share their fate. Admiral Linda's response was calm and cold. You have one chance to retreat. This is human space now, and these beings are under our protection. Human space? You are 40 light years from your nearest colony. Wherever humans stand to defend the innocent, that is human space, Linda declared. The battle was shorter than anyone expected. The hybrid weapons worked perfectly. The resonance beam shattered 3 Ravager ships in the first volley. The virus Tom and Saren created caused 2 more to fire on each other. Faced with technology they couldn't understand and human determination they couldn't break, the remaining Ravagers fled, but the victory came at a cost. The Darwin took heavy damage, and several crew members were injured. Yet morale remained high. They had proven something important. Humans and Vex could work together, could be stronger together. That night, as repairs continued, James found himself on the observation deck with Crix. Earth's sun was just a distant star from here. Your people will be remembered forever in Vex history, Crix said. We will compose symphonies about this day. Just make sure the melody is catchy, James joked, making Crix emit what passed for laughter among his people. The alliance formed in this remote corner of space would soon spread throughout the galaxy. But it started here, with one cargo ship that answered a distress call. Asterisk. News of the Human-Vex alliance spread through subspace communications like wildfire. Within a week, every major civilization in the galaxy knew that humanity had done the impossible. They had stood against the Ravagers and won. The Galactic Council, a body that humanity had been trying to join for 20 years, suddenly sent an urgent summons. They wanted Captain James, Admiral Linda, and Crix to appear before them immediately. The council chamber on Station Prime was intimidating. Representatives from 52 species sat in a circular amphitheater, with humanity's empty seat a glaring reminder of their outsider status. James had never felt smaller as he stood in the center with his companions. The council speaker, an ancient being called a Thornax, spoke first. Its voice was like grinding stone. Humans, you have violated 17 non-interference protocols by engaging the Ravagers. We answered a distress call, Admiral Linda said firmly. Any civilized species would do the same. None have, the Thornax replied. The Vex situation was deemed acceptable losses for galactic stability. James couldn't contain his anger. Acceptable losses? These are living beings. Captain James, another council member, a Serpentine Solani, interjected. You don't understand the complexity. The Ravagers maintain balance. They eliminate species that could become ... problematic. The Vex were scientists and explorers. James protested. With technology that could destabilize entire sectors if misused, the Solani responded. Crix stepped forward, his crystalline form catching the chamber's lights. For 50 years, we begged this council for help. You gave us nothing but words and protocols. The humans gave us action and hope. And now the Ravagers will escalate, the Thornax said ominously. They're already gathering a war fleet. Not 12 ships, hundreds. They intend to punish both your species for this defiance. The council chamber erupted in nervous chatter. Several species representatives were visibly afraid. Admiral Linda raised her hand for silence. Then we'll face them. Humanity has fought against overwhelming odds before. You have 40 ships in your entire fleet. A council member scoffed. The Ravagers have thousands. Then we'd better get creative, James said. He turned to address the entire council. Every one of you has lost people to the Ravagers. They've held this galaxy in fear for generations. Isn't it time, someone said? Enough? Easy words from a species with nothing to lose, the Thornax rumbled. Nothing to lose? Dr. William, who had been quietly observing, suddenly spoke up. We have 12 colonies, 3 billion humans spread across the stars, children who dream of peaceful futures. We have everything to lose. But some things are worth the risk. The Vex delegation, who had been silent until now, began to sing. It was a harmony unlike anything the council had heard, a song of defiance and hope combined. Other Vex throughout the station joined in, their voices carrying through the halls. The humans showed us something, Crix said when the song ended. Courage is contagious. We pledge our technology, our knowledge, everything we have to stand with humanity. Then something unexpected happened. The Qatari representative, insectoid beings who had lost 3 colonies to Ravagers, stood up. The Qatari stand with humanity and the Vex. One by one, other species began standing. The Morvek, who had been forced to abandon their homeworld. The Threxians, who paid tribute to avoid destruction. Even some council members looked uncertain. The Thornax slammed his gavel. Order. This is not how the council operates. Maybe it's time for a change, Admiral Linda said. You've tried neutrality and appeasement. How's that worked out? Before the Thornax could respond, alarms began blaring. A massive Ravager, fleet, 500 ships strong, had entered the system. They're here for us, the Solani hissed at the humans. You've doomed us all. But James was already moving. Admiral, how many human ships can we get here? The entire fleet is 8 hours away, Linda replied, already sending orders. We have 2 hours before they reach the station. Someone shouted. James turned to Crix. That resonance weapon? Can we amplify it using the station's power core? Crix's 3 eyes widened. Theoretically, but we'd need to modify the entire station's defensive grid. Then we'd better get started, James said. He looked at the council. You can sit here debating, or you can help us save everyone. Choose fast. The next 2 hours would determine the fate of the galaxy. And it all came down to whether fear or hope would win. Asterisk. The station's command center had never seen such chaos. Engineers from 12 different species worked side by side, their traditional rivalries forgotten in the face of annihilation. James coordinated the defense while Admiral Linda organized evacuations for non-combatants. I need every ship capable of fighting to form up, Linda broadcast. This isn't about politics or territory. This is about survival. Surprisingly, 43 vessels responded, not just human allies, but ships from species that had remained neutral for centuries. The ancient builders even sent 2 of their legendary fortress ships, vessels that hadn't been seen in 1,000 years. The Ravager commander's message echoed through the station. Surrender the humans and Vex. This is your only warning. The council speaker, the Thornax, had finally made a decision. The Galactic Council stands with all member and non-member species. We will not surrender anyone. Then you have chosen extinction, the Ravager replied. The battle began with devastating force. Ravager ships unleashed weapons that turned smaller vessels into atoms. The station's shields held, but barely. For every Ravager ship destroyed, 3 more seemed to take its place. The resonance weapon is ready, Crix announced, but we need them closer. And we only have 1 shot. James had an insane idea. What if we drop the station's shields entirely? Make them think we're surrendering? That's suicide. Someone shouted. No, Tom said, understanding immediately. It's bait. They'll cluster together to board us. Perfect targets for the resonance wave. Admiral Linda nodded. All ships, prepare for close combat. When the shields drop, give them everything. The moment the shields fell, Ravager ships swarmed forward like hungry predators. They were so confident in their victory that they never saw the trap. Now, James shouted. The resonance weapon fired, using every bit of power from the station's core. The wave expanded outward, a visible distortion in space itself. When it hit the Ravager ships, their hulls rang like bells before shattering into countless fragments. In seconds, 200 Ravager vessels were gone, but the weapons discharge left the station powerless and vulnerable. The remaining Ravagers, enraged beyond measure, prepared for a final assault. That's when the human fleet arrived. Not just the 40 ships everyone expected, but over 100. Cargo vessels like the Silver Wing armed with mining equipment. Colony ships with hastily installed weapons. Even private yachts whose owners refused to stand by. "This is Captain Marcus of the cargo hauler, Blue Diamond," came a transmission. "We heard our people needed help. Cargo haulers reporting for duty. Mining vessel Rockhammer here." Those charges worked pretty well on ships too. The final phase of the battle was unlike anything in galactic history. Humans in vessels never meant for combat threw themselves at military warships. The Vex sang battle harmonies that disrupted enemy communications. The Qatari swarmed Ravager ships with boarding pods. Species that had never cooperated before fought as one. Robert, aboard the Silver Wing, had one more surprise. "Captain, remember those mining drones we're carrying? I've turned them into guided missiles." "Do it," James ordered. Hundreds of mining drones, designed to break apart asteroids, slammed into Ravager ships. They weren't military weapons, but they didn't need to be. Human creativity had turned tools into salvation. The Ravager commander's final message was one of disbelief. "How? You're primitives. Outcasts." "We're humans," Admiral Linda replied simply. "And we protect our friends." When the last Ravager ship fled, the station erupted in celebration. Species that had barely acknowledged each other's existence were embracing. The Vex symphony of victory could be heard in every corner. 3 days later, the Galactic Council held an emergency session. The vote was unanimous. Humanity would not just join the Council, but would be given a permanent security position. The Vex were granted full membership and protection. Captain James stood before the Assembly one last time. "We didn't do this for recognition or power. We did it because it was right. But if you want to honor us, then honor this. Never again will anyone stand alone against tyranny." That's the human promise to the galaxy. The Silver Wing departed the next day, returning to its simple cargo runs. But something had fundamentally changed. Wherever humans went now, they were welcomed not as outsiders, but as the species that stood when everyone else sat, who fought when everyone else fled. In a quiet moment, James stood on his bridge, looking at the stars. Tom approached him. "Think things will really change, Captain?" James smiled. "They already have. We showed the galaxy that kindness isn't weakness, that strangers can become family, and that sometimes one cargo ship saying no to bullies can change everything." Out there, among infinite stars, humanity had finally found its place, not as conquerors or rulers, but as protectors, friends, and the species that reminded everyone what courage looked like. Asterisk.